Wondering what's next in your business or personal life? Welcome to Success to Significance, Life After Breaking Through Glass Ceilings, a podcast dedicated to helping you with all of life's challenges, discoveries, and opportunities. Whether you're seeking a new career, retirement, or simply wanting to make an impact in your community or the world. Join Jen Du Plessis and her guests as they explore how to start, what to do when you're in the thick of a change or growth, and how to leave a mark in this world after breaking through your next achievement. You are moments away from the aha you've been seeking.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Success to Significance, Life After Breaking Through Glass Ceilings. I'm your host, Lady Jen Du Plessis. And today we have Daven Michaels with us, and I'm so excited. You know, so often on the podcast, I've said, hey, I met someone at the Marketer's Cruise, which is the biggest reason why people should go on cruises where people are networking and you can meet like-minded people, because that's where I met Daven. And actually, I think I met you actually before that. You know where I met you, Daven? You probably don't remember. We both were speaking at Ryan's event, City Summit or City Gala in
Gosh, yeah.
Burbank. Yeah,
Yes,
that was the second to last year before he passed away. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
That's where we met. Oh my gosh.
that.
And then I saw you on the Marketer's Cruise and I went, oh, I know this guy, right? We know each
I
other.
know that.
So well, I'm just delighted to have you here today. And aside from, you know, talking about your bio, you've done a lot of things. I know you're a serial entrepreneur, as am I. So I certainly understand that. But we want to talk specifically about the path that you've taken, the journey that you've had, because you've broken through a multitude of glass ceilings as it relates to a variety of businesses. So let me frame this just a little bit. One is I'm a serial entrepreneur, but my entrepreneurial journey of the businesses that I own are very tied to my expertise in financial services and real estate, right? So scaling your business. I own a mortgage company, actually it's a private lending institution. We have, you know, a lot of real estate, a lot of real estate that we've accumulated over the years. And so I have that company. I own Airbnbs. But everything is really tightly associated with real estate, financial services, financial freedom, that kind of thing. It's interesting about you because there's publishing and entrepreneurship in a crazy world, you know, of 1, 2, 3 employee. And there is rock and roll and music and there's social media, social networking. So what I want to do is talk about how you kind of captured all of these, because that to me is really breaking through glass ceilings, because wow, I think I'll do something totally different, you know. Right. So Are you following a passion that makes this happen? So tell us how this happened. How did this all come?
So there actually, Jen, and thanks for having me on the show. So there actually is a pattern, and that is that most of my businesses were in entertainment and communication. So my very first business, I was designing clothing for music groups. I was just a kid. I was 15. My bands had nothing going on. And then an incredible thing happened. MTV came on the air, changed the face of music, and changed my life. So I was working with these bands that had nothing going on. Within about 90 days, most of my bands had record deals. Within a year, they were selling millions of albums, and we rode that wave. And I was doing clothing for all the biggest bands of the 80s and 90s, Prince, Madonna, Cyndi Lauper, Thompson Twins, Duran Duran, lots of big bands. And that kind of launched my career. After that, I was in the communications business, a little business that we eventually exited to a public company, but and that was really kind of out of the realm. But otherwise, from there, I was the biggest EDM event producer in the US. I was a recording artist. Then I would produce music and television for about 15 years. And then after that, I started a sleepy little company called 1, 2, 3 Employee. We were in the outsourcing space. And I did that because I had a publishing deal for Asia. So I was on that side of the world a lot. And we opened a call center there, 10 employees. Had a big merger about 2 years ago with 1,000 employees. Now we're part of a conglomerate with 6,000 employees. And that was kind of the business that was very different than that was not entertainment communications, right? But what happened was I always brought, well, later in life at least, I brought my personality to the business. And so we took a business that is a highly commoditized business, outsourcing. There's nothing really sexy about that. And we made it sexy. And as a result, we built a big brand. We were able to charge a premium because of that brand. And just a lot of incredible things happened because of that. So we made it fun. We made outsourcing fun. And as a result, we had millions of followers, like globally, like fans. And we still have that today. And we use it to springboard all of our different business ventures. So really, I guess it just comes down to, bringing personality to the business. And in that business, it sounds like it's something that wouldn't sort of be something I would love doing, but we made a big shift in the business early on where we went from marketing to one to marketing to many. And a lot of that was speaking on stages. So I spoke in 51 countries. We did events globally, Australia, US, Europe, Asia, New Zealand. And that allowed me to get the entertainment out of me because I am an entertainer. So
Yeah, sort
really
of
what
fix, right? The fix you
exactly.
need.
That's right.
Right.
So really what it came down to is just, adding personality into the business, which anybody can do, right? If you have a personality, you bring it to the business. And a lot of people don't do that, but there's a lot of upside, I think, to doing it, and it makes it a lot more fun to come in every day. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that, about adding personality to business, because, a lot of times, I have a personality that's way out there. I don't care what people think on stage. And it was funny because one time I was speaking and I had my speaking agent show up to a speaking event, and I was kind of testing everything, and he kind of walked in and goes, "Hey," and I went, "Oh my gosh, what are you doing here?" He goes, "I thought I'd listened to you." And I went, "Oh, I need to be perfect, right?" And I stiffened up, and I was like, so in the course of time, and halfway through, not even halfway through, probably halfway through a sentence, I realized, oh my gosh, I'm being somebody else. This is ridiculous. And I lost my train of thought, and I giggled and laughed it off. And I told everybody, "Hey, can I start over?" And then I put my personality in it, and it was great, and it was fantastic. And I just learned I can't be everybody else, and I think this is one of the challenges that people have breaking through glass ceilings is, hey, I'll try it Daven's way, and I'll try it Les Brown's way, and I'll try it James Bentley's way, and I'll come up with poems and stuff, and I'll do it this way. So tell us a little bit about getting that personality out, and how far is going too far without trying to be a comic, or trying to be too much of an entertainer. And what people can do who are introverts to bring that introverted personality out when they're speaking to clients or speaking on stage, whatever it is they do for a living.
Yeah, I think a part of what we did was I had a very creative team, and that helped so much. They took a look at who I was and what I'd accomplished, and they kind of started utilizing that to leverage me, I guess, in the business. So I'll give you an example. So this was a long time ago, gosh, probably about a decade ago. We were growing the company, and my VP had this idea. At the time, the Gangnam Style video was huge. You remember that Gangnam Style? And he said, "Look, why don't we shut down the street in front of one of our centers and let's shoot a Gangnam Style video?" And so we did. So we shot a music video for 1-2-3 employee. And it's just, you would never see an outsourcing company do something like this. And we did it.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And people thought we were nuts, and they loved it. And we got so much traction because Gangnam Style was so hot. And so it's just, at the end of the day, most of my businesses have been B2B businesses, but at the end of the day, in a B2B business, you're not dealing with businesses. At the end of every business, as a consumer, as an owner, as employees, they're all people. And at the end of the day, people always want to be entertained. Above anything else, they want connection, and they want to be entertained. Even in midst of depressions, when nobody had any money, they were still going to the movies. People want to be entertained. And as we always say, well, we also say, facts tell, but stories sell, right? So people connect. And then to answer your question, as far as the introvert scale, I've never been an introvert. I love people, but I was a shy guy. And I think quite often speaking on stage, it can be an overcompensation. It certainly was for me. And they say 5% of the world does not want to, or sorry, 95% of the world does not want to speak on stage. They rank it right up there with, going to the dentist, which I actually love to go to the dentist too, which is fun. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, you probably take care of your teeth. But anyways, yeah. And so for me, I was a shy guy, and then I really just pushed myself. I did things publicly, speaking, performing, and I really loved it. And then one day I turned around and realized I wasn't a shy guy anymore. So, it's all about pushing beyond your comfort zone, right? I mean,
Yeah.
if it was easy, everybody would just do it, and you'd have tons of competition. So the fact that
Maybe
only
it's
5%,
good. Yeah.
yeah, the fact that only 5% of the world wants to speak
Yeah.
publicly, it's just awesome for us, you
Yeah.
know? So, I
Well,
dig
now,
it.
and as you're listening to us talking here, I think one of the things you want to think about too is that may not want to be on stage like Davin and I are. I get that. I totally get that. But if you are a business owner, you are speaking to employees, you are speaking to potential clients, and it's still a stage. I don't care if it's one-to-one, it's still a stage. And that's, I think, something that everyone has to, really understand. As I think about you speaking, and as you're talking about this entertaining piece of things, you never show up. There's two things that you always show up in. Well, two things you wear. You always wear a flashy jacket and you wear
Yeah,
flashy shoes. And that's sort of that little personality
yeah.
tweak that you have. It's like, I'm on stage now, I'm performing, and I may be selling, outsourcing social media, outsourcing content creation, outsourcing making a presentation for a business, right? All the things that you guys outsource too. But this allows for you to say, you know what, if I didn't have this pizzazzy part of what I do, I would have struggles breaking through that glass ceiling, because talking about those topics is for you,
Yeah,
but it
kind
makes
of
it more
exciting.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
100%.
love, I love that. So now
Yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
and that's who I am, and that's who I am too. So like if you and I are heading out for a cocktail or something like that, that's what I'm going to be doing too. So it's really just bringing my personality into facets of my business.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think so too.
yeah.
So now I know that you've also published a couple books, which actually I didn't know. I knew that about you by reading on you. Yeah.
10
10.
books.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
mine are all right there. I got
yeah.
21 of those suckers going, but tell us about book publishing. I know that this is something that, you have passion about, but I don't know that, are you a book publisher these days, or are you just about publishing a book and how you see that can help you break through a glass ceiling, whatever that may
Yeah.
be for someone?
Yeah. So all of the above, and especially when we're on the theme of glass ceilings, and books have literally helped me punch through all of those glass ceilings in my life. And if I look back, the single greatest needle mover in all of my ventures has been writing books and becoming a New York Times bestseller. And so to answer your question, I write books to coincide with well, sometimes just something I'm passionate about because I enjoy doing it. It's almost therapeutic for me, but most of the time it coincides with the business, and it's an integral part of the funnel.
Yeah.
So I'll give you an example. My very first book, which was a book on outsourcing, it was called Outsource This, was actually my most, like, if we're talking about monetarily, it was my most successful book ever. Even though I put out 10 books, I call that my Citizen Kane because I've been chasing it ever since.
Right.
But that was very interesting. So for the first 8 months, we were selling the book for like $17.95. And then one day I like woke up, I have my best ideas when I'm sleeping. I woke up and I said, what am I doing? Why are we selling this book? I don't care about $18 book sales. I'm not in the business of selling books. I'm selling outsourcing, right? And one client could be worth tens of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars a year. So why would I even sell a book when it's a barrier to entry? So we started giving away books, and we gave away hundreds of thousands of books in print and audio, PDFs, and made tens of millions of dollars. So that's just very obvious, that sold outsourcing, right? Every book I write, we have the end in already sort of in sight. So what is it going to accomplish? So my second book was another book on outsourcing, called Outsource Smart. Very creative title, right? Outsource this.
This and smart, right?
I know. Well, I actually wanted to call that book Living the Laptop Lifestyle because that was the benefit.
Yeah.
But that second book was on McGraw-Hill. I had no control over the IP, and they thought that was a good title. It was a terrible title, but at the end of the day, people support what they create. So I said, okay, let's go, even though they didn't support it. But that book still became a New York Times bestseller. And the reason for that book was I felt that if I could hit the New York Times list, that I was already speaking on entrepreneur stages, which was great, but I wanted to speak into the C-suite and to enterprise level companies, because I knew if I did that, there could be one person in the audience that could be a multi-million-dollar a year account. So that got me in that door, and that's how I began speaking on those stages. So that's a couple of examples. The book that's in the stores right now is a book called The Virtual Entrepreneurs, or sorry, it's called The Virtual Entrepreneur. That's my first fiction book, coincided with the launch of VIA, which is the Virtual Entrepreneurs Association, which is an association that we own that basically supports virtual workers. And
Right.
so yeah, every book supports what the back end is going to be. It's all about the back end. And then to answer your question, I did not always have a publishing company, but a few years ago we started a boutique publishing house. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I love that I love that you did, because I'm asked that a lot by my clients, because I talk about a lot about influence.
Yeah.
And, about you've got to write a book. If you're going to be an expert in your field, write a book on being the expert in that field. And then it blossoms into all the speaking opportunities, just like you said, And I think that I've ran into so many people that can't break through that glass ceiling because they have a very tiny book. And, and I hate saying this for anybody who's listening, but if you're a nobody, and we all were when we started all this, right?
Right.
Nobody, and you have a tiny book and you want, oh gosh, and I won't even show you who this is. And this has nothing to do with it, but I don't want to imply anything, but see how tiny this book is. It's a great book and everything. But that book sells for $14.95. I mean, you got to be kidding me. Right. I'm looking at it. I mean, it's $14.95 for an itty bitty book like this. And I'm going, hey, I don't really know that there's value in looking at something like that. You're not going to make $1 million on the book. What you want to do is get the book in the hands of as many people as you can, so that they're inspired to call you and say, hey, can you speak at this event and this thing and teach us here and do some enterprise accounts, right? Like all of that.
Now, two things I will say on book publishing. One is I totally agree with you. You've got to do a legitimate book. But hey, look, if you have a tiny little book, better than no book at all, right? For sure.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong. I love this book. In fact, I wish I created a small book like this. In fact, I'm thinking about doing something, maybe double the size of this, but not big anymore. Because I've just, first of all, I carry them everywhere I go because I want to get them in the hands of people. So I bring, one of whatever topics I'm talking about with me. And I'm like, hey, anybody want the book? Here, take the book. They're heavy.
Yeah, they're true. And like you said, books open so many doors. They certainly lend to credibility and influence. But also, what I will share. So there were several tipping points in our business. And we'll go back to 1, 2, 3 employee.
Yeah.
So the first tipping point in our business was when I went from marketing to one to marketing to many.
Yeah.
And what does that mean? That means doing webinars. That means creating info products, writing books, speaking on stages, doing our own events globally. And the book is just a perfect example of that, right? You write that book once and thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people, or even maybe millions of people devour that book. And that created an exponential leap in our business, because every time I opened my mouth, I was talking to lots of people, equaling lots of sales as opposed to one-to-one. And so many businesses market one-to-one.
Yeah.
A book is a tremendous way to market to many. So yeah.
No, I totally agree. What is that saying? You stepping over to pennies to get to dollars, or whatever.
Yeah, tripping on pennies to get to dollars. Yeah.
Tripping on pennies to get to dollars. And I think that's what everyone, focuses on. Those like, oh, I just need to have a book, since we're talking about books, oh, I need to have a book, or trying to convince someone to have a book. And they say, well, how do I get it to be selling online? And they focus so much about Amazon and how do I get it to be selling? That's not the point. The point is, now you have a glorified business card that you need to get in the hands of everybody, and read it and be talking about it and quoting it and sharing it on stage. I absolutely love that. I truly love that. Okay. So I want to segue into what you're doing with the San Juan social network. God, it's SJ Social Network Cruise.
So there's the San Juan Social Club and the San Juan Social Club Cruise. Yeah.
Yeah, the Social Club Cruise, which I'm going on. I want to share that with everybody and talk about. So why would someone want to, in your perspective, go on some of these networking cruises, I actually just helped my client using the marketers cruise and talking to Lou for her to create something called CE at Sea, which is continuing education at sea for real estate agents. She's a mortgage person and she wants to do CE. And I said, oh, let's do this. And let's come up with a really cool name. So we came up with CE at Sea. She had 50 people on her first cruise. She's doing the next cruise coming up. She's expanding into different states. So it definitely is doing something different for her. We're still trying to figure out what that is for her. But why are cruises becoming more and more popular this way? And what specifically about your cruise that's coming up next March 2025? And if you're listening to this in 2027, I'm sure there's going to be another one coming up.
Every year. Yeah,
Right?
no, absolutely. Yeah. So first of all, you and I met, well, the first time we met was through Ryan, but then the second time we met was on the Marketers Cruise. So I know you talk a lot about the Marketers Cruise on your podcast, but for those of you that may be joining for the first time, so it's all the top marketers from all over the world. I believe this year will be their 16th or 17th year.
I think 17, yeah.
17. Okay. For the last decade, I've spoken on that cruise, and so many great things have come from that. And I made tens of millions of dollars, made incredible friends. Matter of fact, all of our best friends came from that cruise. And because it was a global audience, all of the joint ventures that I did, they went back to their respective countries, spread the word of me. And that's how I have a couple million people that follow me all over the world on a regular basis. And so why is that? Well, we know that like if you and I, do a deal on an email, something happens. If we get together on a Zoom call, something more happens. We make more money, right? Yeah. And if we go to dinner together, get to know each other better, we become better friends, we go deeper, we make more money. And if we spend a week together on a great adventure, well, then we become best friends and we do even more business. And so I love it. I love group cruising. It's awesome. And the Marketers Cruise, I believe, has about 450 cruisers every year. So I always wanted to have a cruise. So I'm going to back up a second. So as you can see, this is not a backdrop. I live in Puerto Rico. I've lived in Puerto Rico for the last 6 years. And this is not tax advice. You may or may not know this, though. If you move to Puerto Rico, you make Puerto Rico your home, you move your company here, you jump through all the legal hoops. Basically, you can receive a 4% federal income tax rate. And I'm not talking about state, I'm talking about federal, 4% federal, 0% capital gains, 0% dividends on your investments. And by the way, that's all on export, stuff that you do outside of Puerto Rico, export services. And like I said, once again, I'm not a tax professional, consult your accountant, but yes, it is possible. It's kind of the last legal loophole if you're a US citizen. Yes. And the penalty for all that is you have to live in paradise. We have great food, wonderful people. And so it's not a bad
dancing. For me, it's dancing. I don't know if you know, I'm a competitive ballroom, Latin, and swing dancer. So
I didn't know that. Yeah.
It's dancing.
Yeah, and there's wonderful dancing here for sure. Yeah, of course. And so when I first got here, on the second day I was here, I had an idea for a Puerto Rico cruise, but it was a bad time for Puerto Rico. It was 3.5 months after Hurricane Maria, a once in 100-year occurrence, and the island was just rebuilding. I mean, there's no way I could say, hey, we're going to do a cruise. Plus, I didn't have a tribe here in Puerto Rico. And I'm a big tribe builder. I love communities. I love people. And so I started a little sleepy group here. And it was just after Hurricane Maria. We get together at my house once a month. We'd have 6 people show up. Fast forward 6 years later, we have almost 1,800 people in the San Juan Social Club. And so I do events once a month. They are, I do them as a public service. They're free to bring people together for drinks, food, and networking and conversation. And it's a very unsophisticated model with a very sophisticated purpose. And I learned this from somebody else, actually, and that is there is no friction to eating and drinking. So if I say, Jen, let's go grab a bite, you're going to be like, oh, I don't eat, I don't eat. Or if I say, let's have a drink, you're like, oh, I don't like to have fun, So from there, as you know, just like on the cruise, anything's possible. And so as time went by, I built a couple of bigger missions as well. One, it was to bring people like me who are new to the island together with locals. And when I started, it was 95% what we call Act 2022 or Act 60, which is the program I'm on. It was 95% guys and gals like me. Today, we're at about 60-40. So it is working, it's bringing people together. And we have a philanthropic mission as well. Last year, we helped one of the local organizations do 180,000 in business, or not in business, in donations in a single day. On the last cruise, I gave all the money to this charity as well, two charities, and it was great. So it's been pretty cool. So I announced last year that we're going to do a cruise, and honestly, I have to tell you, before I worked with Captain Lou, who does the Marketers Cruise. He's my booker and what have you on this, and it took a long time to line everything up because we needed an itinerary coming out of Puerto Rico, and we were on Virgin, which is amazing. And there were just a lot of moving parts, and we didn't think that it was going to happen. But then the stars aligned, the itinerary was there, and it was a go. And so Lou hit me up. He said, "We're go. We can do this." He's like, "Are we doing it?" And I was like, "I don't know. I don't know," because it was just such a public thing. And if I failed, everybody would be there to see me fail. And by the way, I think that the statistic, I want to say it's 9 out of 10 or 7 out of 10 group cruises fail. They don't work. Okay. They never take off. And so I just wasn't sure. I go, well, let me take the weekend and think about it. And I was not sure. But finally I said, okay, let's go. And we announced it. And over time, 238 people booked. So we did the cruise. It was incredible. And our cruisers had a great time. The incredible friendships were forged and created. And because it's mostly fun, but we have speakers and networking, our cruisers did 110 million in deals, which is a lot. It was insane. And so the question is, why and how did that happen? Well, 75% of the people, first of all, most people in the San Juan Social Club are very, very, very happening entrepreneurs, executives, etc., and business owners. So our people from Puerto Rico are great. So that was 75% of our people. And then 25% of our people were people like you, people that I've met from speaking in 51 countries over the last decade, all the movers and shakers from all over the world. And the magic was the cross-pollination. So the people from all over the world got excited about what people were doing in Puerto Rico. People in Puerto Rico got excited about what everyone was doing all over the globe. And it was incredible. Now, on top of that, we were also on Virgin, which is the hottest new cruise line on the water. It's like being on a sexy Miami boutique hotel on the water, no kids. And it's like Disneyland for adults. It's super fun. And so it was so successful that here we are, I don't know, 9 months out or 8 months out or something. And we have over 400 people booked for the next cruise. And we're rivaling the size of the Marketers Cruise. Took them 17 years, took us a year. And so it's really exciting. I love it. If you are watching this and you want to check it out, if you go to sanjuansocialcruise.com, I'm sure we'll put it in the show notes. It just requires, I think, a small deposit, 500 per person or 600. It goes up over time, and then you just pay for it the rest of the year. If you do book and decide to come with us, make sure in the drop down to select Jen's name, so that we make sure that you're all in the same area on the ship together. It's perfect. And I will tell you, it is the greatest way to do business, and we're just killing it. So
and I love it. I love it. And I've been on, as you know, I'm going on the podcasters cruise. I'm going on the marketers cruise. Now I'm going on your cruise. And I was actually invited the first year by David Fagan, but it had a conflict. And I was like, oh, I want to go so bad. But it happens. So who is the target audience? If someone's listening here and they're saying, I don't know. I mean, you said executives, you said this. I mean, do I have to speak Spanish because it's from San Juan? I mean, who's the target audience, and what would you tell someone who is coming to be able to take part in the $110 million in relationships and partnerships and affiliates and all of that good stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a high level group. So if you're just getting started out, I would not recommend coming. You could come and you'd have a nice time. and you'd love it, but you know, you gotta have stuff going on. And because it's a great group of people. But if you're looking to expand your business, make some incredible friends, you will love it. Nothing is in Spanish, it's all in English. For those of you that don't know, Puerto Rico is a US territory.
Yes, it is.
Almost everybody speaks English here. You don't need a passport to come. We leave out of San Juan, which is about a 2.5 hour flight from Miami, about 3.5, 4 hour flight from New York, a 10 hour flight from the West Coast, unfortunately, but totally worth it. You should still come. And but yeah, if you're looking to expand your business and expand your
Collaborations. I think it's really collaborations, but you're willing to do the work with partnering with people, there's a lot of people, and again, this is how you break through another glass ceiling is a lot of people do a lot of talking about, we should get together and I'll share your information with other people and I'll get back to you and I'll connect you with this person because that would be good. And then crickets happen. So this is not something, because I will tell you, there's been some people that have said in the past, well, I went on the marketer's cruise and I didn't get anything. What'd you put into it?
Yeah, no,
what
for
did
sure.
you put into it?
For sure. But also this is just a really unique group because because of our tax incentives here, it attracts a very high caliber of entrepreneurs. And quite often I meet entrepreneurs that say, I'm really looking to take it to the next level, break through that glass ceiling. And I say, well, your network, your net worth is your network, right? And so if you really want to uplift that, if you really want to take it to the next level, this would be the cruise you want to be on. So I'll give you an example. One of my partners here runs a 35 billion euro family office out of Tuscany. He just doing business with him has taught me so much, and he's just one of many. I don't even think the same anymore since I came to Puerto Rico. So if you want to, add a couple zeros to your bank account and have a blast doing it, you definitely want to cruise with us. Yeah,
I'm excited. Yeah, I'm totally excited. I can't.
You're going to be great. You're a great addition to the cruise. Excited that you're coming.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. So as we wrap up our time together, we will put that in the show notes, and, we'll remind everybody, you have to be invited and you're being invited, and you drop down, just do the drop down and just say that Lady Jen Du Plessis sent you there. And, what we get from it is the ability to share our expertise to the group and that, become a leader in the group. And that's what I'm doing on the marketers. Because by the way, you weren't there last year. I spoke there last year and I'm speaking there this year again. So,
sorry, I missed that.
I'm moving on up. I'm moving on up in the world too. Yeah. And, but now, I did have a question for you. Are there enough rooms available? Because there's a lot of sold out rooms on there.
There are, yeah. We've sold out on most of the suites. I think all of the suites are sold out.
They're gone.
But we still have sea terrace rooms, which are the most desirable. That's what most people get, and they're great rooms. So yes, we still have them available.
Yeah, you still don't have to look through a porthole. There are porthole rooms available.
Right now, what I will tell you, the price keeps going up. So we've already had one price increase. So you definitely want to jump in before it goes up even more. So actually, Virgin is very inexpensive. I think they're slowly ramping it up. So a sea terrace room runs a couple thousand per person.
It's nominal. It is nominal. I'm a sweet girl. I was a little disappointed, but I thought, okay, fine. At least I don't have to look through a porthole. I can be on a balcony. So that was important to me. Otherwise I would have gone, I don't know if I could do, but listen, it doesn't matter. You're not in your room. And even if you don't get, a balcony and it is a porthole or is an inside stateroom, it is so worth it. It's so worth it to go.
It is. And the price, by the time we sailed last year, sorry, it was this year, the price had tripled. So you definitely want to move on it as soon as you can.
Sign up early. Yeah, sign up early. I love it. Okay, so as we finish our time together, and thank you so much for sharing that and some of the insight that you have, on business and publishing and books, and I just love everything that you're doing. It's very fast, by the way. You're very fast paced. Things are moving at the speed of sound. It's just very fast. I love it. Absolutely love it. And this is important because if you're sitting still, the world's passing you by. That's what's happening in today's world. I know you work a lot in crypto as well, which is another area that I love working in, but we don't have time for that on today's show, but we may be able to do that in another time. And I love crypto as well. So what would you like to leave our audience with today? If you could talk to one person and say, hey, listen, if you're challenged getting through that glass ceiling and doing it, whatever you think is the challenge for people, what counsel? I don't want to say advice. What counsel would you like to give to people?
Yeah, I spent a decade traveling the globe, speaking to entrepreneurs, and I would always say that the lifeblood of all business is really two things. It's money and it's marketing, right? I would always say that if you could dial in the marketing in your business, if you had a ton of leads coming through the door, if your bank accounts were overflowing with money, you could probably buy yourself out of just about any challenge you face in your business, including hitting that glass ceiling. But I changed that. I changed that over the last couple of years. I really came to the realization that, like I said earlier, your net worth is your network. If you want to make more money, if you want to break through a glass ceiling, get a bigger network, get a better network. When I first started my business, I didn't go to an Ivy League school. I was a college dropout. I didn't have money. I didn't have resources. And I got there, but it was incredibly hard. It was
Yeah.
so hard. And I always say that if I had to do all over again, I probably wouldn't do this, but if I had to do it all over again, I would have got good grades in high school. I would have gone to an Ivy League school. I would have graduated top of my class, and I would have plugged into the alumni network because it's so valuable. I couldn't imagine starting your career in your early 20s, but like going to Princeton and plugging into that alumni network. It would be invaluable. You would save decades of time, right? And so today, I feel like there's almost nobody I can't reach. If you gave me a president or of a country, or a big head of a company, I probably could, through a few people, get to that person. And that took a long time to build. But you can do it. And the shortcut is that. And so I guess it's twofold. One is, expand your network, get a strong network of movers and shakers. And then also, mentorship is key. There, no matter what you're doing or thinking of doing, there's always somebody that has rode that path for you, right? And if you can latch onto their belt, they'll pull you there, faster and better. And so, yeah, I think
Amen.
that's
Love
really
that.
key.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. I absolutely love that. I say that all the time is, the difference between people who make 5 figures and the people who make 7, 8, and 9 figures is, one, they've got, and I have 5 things, but one, they've got a network, right? A network they can rely on, that become their best friends, because it's about that relationship that they have. That's the rich relationship. It's not that, and yes, money comes with it, but the deeper, richer relationships that people are superficial relationship people normally. Let's go deeper. Let's have that deeper relationship that they have. And one of the others is get a mentor and get them fast. Because you wandering, and it's like being out there on a little buoy, in your boat, and you're just going in circles because it's just you. And you have one side of an oar, right? And you're just going in circles. And when you can all get in the same boat together, and in this case, and I always use this example, but if you can get on the same ship together and you can all row toward the same thing, that's amazing. And get it fast, get a mentor fast. I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. I really appreciate it. With that, Daven, I say thank you so much for joining me today. And thank you for joining me today and listening and taking time out of your busy day to listen in. I love hearing where you're listening. I get a lot of comments from people saying, hey, I was listening to you while I was pushing the stroller with my baby. That's perfect. Whatever you have to do to increase your personal development, I love that. And I want to say thank you again for all of that. So before you get off of this call, scroll down on your phone, just use your thumb really quick, scroll down and do a great review for us. Give us a great 5-star review and say something that you learned from Daven, because I love hearing that. And then we can share that with him as well. And don't forget to go over to YouTube and subscribe to our channel so that we can continue to provide you with great content. Daven, again, thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate it so much. Absolutely. We'll catch you next time.
You've been listening to Success to Significance with Jen Du Plessis, the #1 podcast for people wanting to give more value and make an impact. Loved this episode? Be sure to subscribe right now at www.jenduplessis.com/S2S for more stories, strategies, and thoughts to help you gain significance and success. And if you like what we're doing, don't forget to give us a rating and review so we can continue to bring you the best content possible. Join us next week for another breakthrough episode. Thank you for listening.